performance limitless product.
By Bugatti.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Toys for Boys RC. We are starting a brand new build series with the Bugatti Bolide body from Performance Limitless, and you can find them on Facebook under the name Performance Limitless. But before we dive headfirst into this project, we're going to consider a couple options, one of them being color choices for this body, considering that most of them are still in their prototype stages. Taking a close-up look at some of the color options we have, we can see that using pearl metallics, anything iridescent, or candies are going to reveal some of the indications of craftsmanship. Whereas choosing solid colors like a plain solid blue, red, green, yellow are not going to show any of these indications from craftsmanship or 3D printing lines. Now this set of colors over here, they are transparent colors, but they're still solid. They don't have any pearls or metallics in it, so it is not going to reveal any indications of craftsmanship or 3D printing lines from the Lexan body. Taking a close-up look at the paints here, this is from Liquitex Basics, and it is the same paints that I used when I painted the Skyline body on the Skyline project build. So first things first, trimming, fitment, and ride height. This is the ride height that I want to accomplish, and I'm going to have to trim this body a little bit different than what is recommended according to this line that I'm showing you right here. And it follows through along, and it is the same line that runs through the front, but there is a 6mm difference, and I'm using this tape here for a reference. Now, I use it to make my wheel well lines because it is also 6mm universally, and the bottom of the front bumper is elevated by 6mm. You can see that right here. Now, the wheel well height from the bottom of the body would be 86mm, and it is 83 according to this line on the Bugatti body. You can see that right there. The rear quarter wheel well is 5mm taller, but this is okay because I am doing this on the Felony platform, and the rear Felony tires are going to make up for that space. But taking a step back and looking at it all, you can see I have the front bumper taped off a little bit differently. I have the tape on the top side of the line because the front bumper should be 6mm higher, or in other words, the ride height for the front wheels are going to be a little bit higher than what you want them to be. This modification I made to the rear body mount using a plate, I'll explain that in a second. But right here I'm getting ready to make my markings to cut these openings out to get the body to drop more. These shocks are going to be sticking out of these openings once I cut it, and I'm just making measurements to be sure that, I get it right on the first cut. Right here I'm using fine line vinyl tape. I use this a lot. I'm going to put the product link descriptions in the comment section below for everything I've used in this video so far. Okay, now for this section, the top of this yellow tape indicates the line that we are meant to trim this body at, and if you see the skirts and the alignment, it would work out. The ride height seems decent, except I had to remove the rear body posts in order to get the body to come down as low as I needed to. Having this in place, even without the studs that are, pointing upwards, the body is still too elevated. So I need to find a way to make this work. So I came across a few different options. One of them is to remove this arm right here, which holds the rear diffuser in place, just so I can put the body towers underneath here, which would have been fine, giving me the best ride height, and I can cut it where it needs to be cut. Except that's not going to work out. I'm not going to remove those. I need them. So now we're going to resort to plan B. Plan B being to put this tower on the top and just flip it upside down and see if I can still get a proper ride height clearance. And here it is. Now it's resting on the body post tower instead of the bracket below it, and it's risen the ride height. And when I put the rear Felony tires in it, it could close up that space a little bit, but it still seems too high. And I already have the ride height on my chassis set up. I already have the suspension, the arm travel where I need it. So I'm going to come up with a bracket that is going to let me get the best of both worlds. So these are just some square plates that I cut out from PVC expanded foam board. It is an easy material to cut and work with, and it's light, it's malleable, I like it, it's versatile. Here it is. I used it to put my body, tower at the same level as the bracket below it. I just moved it back a little bit. It didn't change my wheelbase markings. Now, when I essentially cut the openings for the vents for the body to drop down on the front shocks, and I drill the holes for the body posts, the wheelbase positioning changes by like 0.5 millimeter. It's not a big deal, but it's good to mark them now so we can stay to center as much as we can. Actually, I don't need to make any adjustments because putting load on the tire, that's actually dead center. So we're getting close. I have plenty of material because I'm leaving a wall for structural integrity. Now I'm just gonna grab a finer bit, grab something to thin, pointy one, and just, get into those corners. A bit of 180 on a paint stick just to clean her up, get it nice and leveled. Just went over these a little bit more with the same bit just to clean it up. And I'm definitely gonna double tape when I go to do the rest of it because this can jump out of your hands. So let's see how this fits on the body now. Tell me that doesn't look hard. Look at that. Look how accurate I got it. Never wipe this plastic shaving off with your hands because you will scratch it. Don't use a towel. You're gonna drag these across the plastic, you're gonna scratch the heck out of it. Blow it off. Okay, so all the work that you've seen done was done with this bit right here. I was able to do it the way you see in it. Now I'm just going to go to a thinner bit so I can get closer into the edges and get a nice, precision edge, and then clean it up with sandpaper. So let's see where we're at. Gotten this all cleaned up with this. This is a 180 on a paint stick, and I trimmed it to where there is no sandpaper on the edge. That way I don't accidentally dig into something unintended. Just to take the burrs off of that. I did a pretty good job with the Dremel, so I didn't need to straighten it any further, but this will do it if you need it to. We can get to this now. We're on the surface. This will get your burrs off. The trick that works is getting a piece of sandpaper and rolling it into a cone. This will let you get into the corners and you can choose the radius that you want to clean it up. So just the way I demonstrated are the same steps, same tools, same procedures that I used to get it to this point. After using the carbide bits, I just went straight to a 180 grit sandpaper. I'll either wrap it up in a little cone, I'll put it on a paint stick for the flat edges, and to get this curvature towards the bottom, I wrap the sandpaper around the lighter. And just with 180 grit, I left it, and that's the look that I get. If I want to clean it up further, I'll use maybe 400, and that's about it. That's all I got to do, and then the marker comes off with rubbing alcohol. By choosing one of the round pointy tipped carbide bits, I can just apply a little bit of pressure to the plastic and it cuts right in. The spearhead shaped bits are excellent for beginning to cut into the plastic, but as you saw in that clip right there, it can become a little bit unstable. At this point, it's your option if you wanted to choose to a barrel shaped bit, because it gives you a little bit more stability when you're trying to cut out sections of plastic. These two rear side vents that you're seeing me cut right now were the most difficult to cut out of all the angles on this body. So here's a product that I was able to achieve using this carbide spearhead bit I'm showing you right here. I'm going to try various bits in the carbide bit collection and try coming from the back of the body and do my best to remove this material that's left without causing any damage. So I'm just double checking and making my marks before I drill the hole for the body posts. The best way to do this is to adjust the height on the body post to where your body is rested where you need it and it's making contact up against the body and the post. So what I do is determining how much clearance I have, I'll grab one of these by itself and I'll push it up through the body mount from underneath. I'll push it all the way up, and then I'll rest the body on it and push the body down, and these will be making contact all the way and they just come down, just for me to be able to make that marking. Because if it's too far apart from the body and it's like floating above it, I might not get it accurate. But I got these dead center, and this body isn't rocking left or right because it's sitting comfortably in here. There's only a little play front to back, and the wheel is good where it is. When it comes up, it's pretty much centered. If I tried moving this forward a little bit, just because of the way the back looks, this shock tower isn't going to be sticking out, because this body line, this only comes up, it rises as you come off this way. So if I was to remove more and push the body forward, the body's going to slide over this, and it's probably just going to be touching underneath and scratching it. So I'm going to leave it where it is, and I have plenty of freedom. After I cut this out, I can just sand this and I can shim it and get it where I need it. The back only looks the way it does because the rear tires have more toe in than the front tires. Front tires are at an angle, but the way this looks like there's a little extra space. The back quarter wheel well is a little bit taller than the front, but this body is well suited for the Felony, and the Felony has larger rear tires, so that's what that's the height. Now I was able to drive an Allen key all the way through it. I caught the hole. Have a little bit of play, but it's not much, you know. It's gonna have to do. That's gonna be the height. So I will have to drill the hose for the body posts on the body, install these at the best height that I can get them at, install the body, and check the new ride height, make sure if it's not any higher or lower. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. This is all we have for part 1 of the Bugatti Bolide build playlist series. Please subscribe and follow the channel for more. All the products will be linked in the comment section below. Thank you.